All right, well, we have been busy on this Lance, and I didn't get a camera on it before we started, but I'm just gonna tell you, it looks like all the other roofs. So, all the same type of roof that we put the, you get the put more on roofs. So, we got everything off the roof, and this roof actually looks really well. Meaning, like, there's no rot in the roof deck, it's not sagging, there's nothing wrong with it at all. So that's awesome. But there's also a pretty new coach too. So it came in because they had a little leak over here going on, and they came in immediately. They found us, we did a patch job for them. We've tested everything with our moisture meter. Everything's dry as a bone. That's good news. So the only issue that I had was all along the edges. There's on here you get the aluminum, but all the other ones here, there's nothing. There's nothing to screw to. So I see a lot of people saying, hey, I want to put solar on, I want to put solar on. What are you going to screw to? Look how thin this is. Look how thin that is. You know, that's only an eighth of an inch. That's not nearly strong enough to hold a screw from the wind pulling on it. So a lot of people think that the wind, when it goes over, that it's pressing down. It's not. It's actually pulling up. Especially when it scoops up underneath the solar panel. I mean, it can really pull it off. If it doesn't, then it's at least pulling it up, which is taxing that screw, which that you have for the bracket, which would cause a leak. So that doesn't make sense. So what we did, anyways, is we put all this steel in here. This is heavy gauge steel. This 18 gauge steel. I put it in there. That's going to give me. Now it's all glued in there too. So it's glued to the decking to this. So that's going to give me a better bite to hold something down. So I even did it for the ladder over there, and then the ones on the edge over there, he had the big rails, the luggage rails, I guess. He had those, so we put those down too. And then some of them, we're going to put our curbs and everything. We don't need on this edge. We don't really need it there. So because we'll be screwing them down this way, and we'll put two more over there to hold it down. So other than that, I mean, it looks really good. So we're just getting ready now to, we'll obviously get it cleaned up, and then we can get a roof on this thing. That's how good it is. So that's a plus right there. I think that's about it. That's about it. And do you think I need two more plates like this? I need them over there somewhere for where he did have solar, because he did have a solar panel, because I can see the wires right there. So we'll get those on, and then we'll be able to put everything on. All right, so what we're doing is recladding over it. Get some foam adhesive, gonna glue it back down, and that also locked in all our plates. I got these extra ones in here in case he wants to do another solar on the other side. All right, so we just popped the cover off. It was just a screw. It's right on the cover. You can't miss it. Take those screws out. Now we got to take this off. Once we take this off with these screws, then the evaporator is up underneath there. All right, so once you took the cover off, it's got a couple of boo-boos in here. Somebody even monkeying with it. This is the heater. So there's a dual unit. Does heat and air conditioning. So this is the coil you want to clean. This section here goes into the cabin. That's the filter box. So the air comes up through here, goes through, and then it goes through this squirrel cage and it gets blown back down into the cabin. That's how it works. So right down in here, this is a condensation tray. So warm air comes in, hits the cold evaporator, turns condensation, goes into that drain to get drained out. That's the water you're seeing coming out. So you can see there's, I don't know, hopefully you can see it, there's just some dust and dirt and everything on there. That's what will clog this up, and it'll actually cause it to even shut off. So you just want to keep these clean. These are not hard to do. So you can go in your coach and you'll see your filter box, take the cover off, and then you're going to see a plate on the ceiling, a metal plate. In the metal plate is going to be 4 bolts. Take those bolts off. This is just a plug and play deal right here. It's a cord. Unplug it. Should be able to. Pretty simple. And then you just there's going to be a thermistor that goes into here, and that's just basically a freeze thaw sensor. So if it gets too cold, it'll shut off. So that's it. And then it just pops up. So you can't wash these on your coach like this, so because you'd end up getting water down there. I recommend you take them off. I recommend you go get a welcome mat for a few dollars over at whatever. All these, I've seen them, Walmart, wherever, dollar store. Put some in the back so you can tip this up, because you don't want that sharp edge to jack into your roof. What you're going to look for afterwards is you're going to look for the gasket. This one is in awesome shape. Very, very rarely do we ever see them in awesome shape like that. But that's what you're going to be looking for, making sure the gasket isn't deformed, making sure it's all even. This one is, you know, all the sides are even. Everything's great on this. So this gasket's really, really good shape. It looks like someone probably replaced it. But here again, that coach isn't really that old. I don't think that thing is but a few years old, that little camper. So now what we're going to do is just flush it out. And all I use is just this, it's just foamy bubbles. It's all I use. We're just going to spray it on there. I got to get the hose, so then you just reach in there and get what you can. I'm trying to flush all that out. Just flush everything out. All right, so now once we get that, I got to come up here. And all I want to do is just open these up a little bit. I'll get some better drainage out of these little holes. I've had some techs tell me, oh, you can't widen those out. You can look at some other units. They got these big little gutters that come out. You know, they'll have gutters coming out instead of a hole. So that hole is definitely too small. So that should help. And that's it. That's as easy as it is. Now all we do is just put it back together. I mean, it's literally that easy. So however long this video was, I didn't do any editing. Just a couple of clips. And whatever time it took me to walk 20 feet to go get the hose and back. So that's it. Put it all back on there, make sure it's all secured. We'll put our heating element back. She's ready to go back up on the roof. It's clean. You could try to straighten these out. They do make a tool for it, but it's not the end of the world. You could get a comb or something, maybe even a wire brush, and try to straighten it out a little bit, but it's not, once they get all boogered up like that, there's not much you can do about them. Okay, so these are our Skylights. Got another one over there. They're both the same. What we do is we wrapped it in aluminum. These lenses are known to probably crack and fail. I don't want it to end up leaking into the actual roof. So this way, it's just, in this case, it's going to drip right down into the shower. This one is a little different. It's probably going to drip in the hallway if it leaked, right? But it's not going to get in the ceiling. So what you're looking at right there is a breather for that fan, and it goes over to there too. So I use that one fan for both. And right here is an intake. So right in this other side right here is another trough. So now the air is going to get pulled in. It'll go, there's going to be an inner lens like this one is. See how that inner lens is? So the air will come up, it'll go over, air will get pulled in. On this side, air will get pulled. So it's going to keep this cavity here because you have that there, then you have this on it, right? So you got that cavity in there. So this is going to, one, keep it cooler, and also it's for a condensation. So in the cooler times of the year, like about now, you're going to get condensation on the top of your lens right here. Maybe even some frost when it gets even colder. Not only is it on here, it's actually on the inside right here. So now the sun comes up, it warms this up, but what's up underneath, it diffuses down into condensation, and it'll drool down on the inside of this lens. It'll drool down. So once it drools down, then it can start getting into a roof deck. Well, the way I designed this is when the sun comes to warm this up, evaporate that off, that fan's going to kick on. You don't have a switch, you don't have to do anything. It's going to do it automatically for you. And it'll pull the air from here. It'll keep that cycle of air in this cavity right here to get that moisture out. We don't want that moisture in there. We want it out. So that's the whole design of that. And then, like I said, I wrapped all this with aluminum just, you know, for that main reason, to keep anything if and when it cracks. And they will probably, but I don't want it to get inside this here. And you know, this is all foam, so it may soak in somewhere else, blah blah blah. So that's why I do all that. You know, I don't want anybody having a lot of places aren't going to go to the extreme that we do, and I think of these things like what if this fails, and I try to design things to be fail safe. So this way there's no issue with it. It's not something that needs to be torn apart and redone again. In this case, you would simply just, you know, replace the lens. All this stuff that I designed, anybody can follow behind this. You can take this lens off yourself, you can replace the air conditioner yourself, anything, even this vent, you can do that yourself. And you can see right now, we've already got this all set. And what we did is we set it and we leave it alone. We leave it alone. So there are no screws in here, right? We'll come back and put the screws in, but I'm making a gasket up underneath there. That's what keeps it sealed. That's why we never have any issues. Too many people want to put butyl under the bottom and then they run the screws in there and squash all that. That butyl, what it does is it pushes out. So now you put this, we'll say it was butyl, you put butyl around here. Now when you drive those screws, that butyl pushes out. And you may not know it, but it's basically, it'll push out until it comes to its rest, and wherever that is. So now you go around with your caulking, and the caulking isn't cured, and nor is the rest of the butyl. So the butyl is going to push that caulking away, and that's how you're going to get your leaks. We don't use butyl. It's a waste of money. All you have to do is load the bottom really well with, you know, we use commercial grade caulking here. So you can just load it like that, and then you can set it down like I did. And once you do that, you come back later, and you can see we got all that. We're going to put screws in, and now all this is going to be a gasket for the screws. That's your gasket for your screws. It isn't going to leak. It can't leak. It's done. So all that said, though, like this particular material, all roofing material needs to be primed. So, you know, if you look at this going, hey, that's the way to do it, and you go do it and it leaks, you're going to be like, well, that son of a gun. It will leak if you don't prime them. So, and you can get membrane primers anywhere at a commercial supply house, but that's the right way to do it. So I do everything the way it's supposed to be done, the way the manufacturer says to do it. And then this way I don't have any issues. They designed it, they tested it even. They even tested it. They went and spent millions of dollars testing it. Well, if they spent all that money, I'm not going to be an idiot and go, oh, hey, I know more than you. You already did it. I'm just going to follow the, you know, roll with this wheel that they did, right? And that's the way you do it. So it's all done. Anyhow, we got most of everything all done. We got the legs on the air conditioner and all that stuff. And I'll go over all that, but we're pretty much done with this. Just the little things you see that we're doing now, putting the covers on, you know, bolting the air conditioner back down. I got to straighten my leg out. And that's it. Those legs just give it balance. That's all it does. But I'll go over all that later.
We're done with our lens.
Off she goes. So you can see we've got everything all welded in. Everything is all done. So this roof, everything is all heat welded. All of this is all heat welded. I had to make all these custom curbs. That's what these are. These are curbs. So every curb that I make has a counter flash. So when the water comes across, I can't jump over. It has to get redirected. So what we did on this one, because we had the two, obviously two skylights right here, it would be hard to get another fan. So this fan is actually serving both of these. And I think I went over all of this, how the condensation, especially when it gets, you know, the colder time of the year now, was this September. So when it starts even getting cool, you'll have frost on the lenses. And not only do you have it on the top, you have it up in the inside. And when the sun comes up, it warms up what's on top. What's inside, it can't evaporate that up. So it starts turning to condensation and drooling down, which is really the reason for the fan. So this is an intake over here, and what it does, it pulls the air through it. And the same over there, it pulls it through. So it'll go, there's an inner lens and an outer lens, so it goes in between the two of them and just keeps that constant air flowing. It'll probably keep these cooler too. A lot of people complain about how hot they get, so it's going to keep that cooler. But this roof, anybody can follow behind us. This is a real commercial roof. There's a way it's done. Anybody can follow behind us to replace the air conditioner, replace a vent. You know, unlike a spray or a roll-on roof, like you would have to literally tear their product up and then you'd have to go to them to recoat it. Then they're not going to give you that product. This is a commercial membrane. You can find it anywhere. Push come to shove, you can find this anywhere. But the point is, anybody can follow behind us. There's no need for self-leveling. It's all done. So you can see, even like in the lenses here, you can see there's a very well sealed. We don't put screws in them because, you know, the screws, when this expands, it's going to be pushing on the screws, and now you get a thunderstorm and it's going to contract and it's going to pull in the screws, and then you start getting these little fractures. So we just solely glue them down. That's what we do. The material itself is a commercial grade TPO membrane. All you have to do is just wash this with soap and water. This is considered a 20-year roof system. I don't like tossing around the word lifetime. That you'll never have to replace this roof, but I think that's just kind of wrong to just say, hey, lifetime. I've never known anything to be lifetime ever. Maybe a spoon or a shovel or something, but even at that, you know, going with the word lifetime, just tossing it around there, to me, it just seems to be, I don't know, misleading. We'll call it that. But in 20 years, this thing is still going to be performing, because the way they test these are for a commercial roof. So this roof's probably going to get, I don't know, maybe even closer to 30 years. But we'll say after 30 years, and you're like, hey, I got to do something with this thing, if this coach is still around, if you want to, they do make recovery systems for flat roofs. Most of the products you see out there that for coating systems, if you will, or recovery systems, they're designed for flat roofs, real commercial flat roofs. They're not designed for roofs that don't have curbs. So, you can, if you had to, you could put one of those on there, or even a certain reflective coating. But you don't need to put a coating on this. You don't need to touch this thing. It's done. This is going to be a long time before you have to even do anything to this. That's for sure. So we do offer free inspections. We like to see them come back, and then we look at them. They're free. Take advantage of it. So the warranty on this here, like I said, this is a 20-year roof system. So that's why we like to see it come back at least once a year so we can inspect it. If the customer wants to inspect it, they can. But obviously we're a little more versed at it, but we do show people how to do inspections on it. Right here you can see we caulked every single screw. That's important if you have a Lance or even one of these. Any camper for that matter, all these screws really need to be sealed, but this doesn't have an insert. So some of them have inserts. This one doesn't. So let's see what else we got going on here. I think that's about it. So you can see on the air conditioner, this is one of the reasons why we do what we do, is because on the air conditioner, we got a couple of feet in the back right here. There's one on the other side. That just gives it balance. But on the reason we get this other piece in the front, that's considered another counter flash. So by setting this up on a curb, you're keeping that gasket, and I've shown that gasket before, how the gasket gets deteriorated, and this is keeping it elevated up off the roof line, away from the pollen, the dirt, the debris. It's not going to get dry rotted out like just being sat on the roof like they normally do. And again, you go back to a spray or roll-on system, then it's going to be sitting on the roof, and you have the same issue with it, and they are going to fail, which they will leak. And they don't tell you all that. They say no leaks, no leaks, no leaks. Well, and then you go and look at line item number 5 in their warranty, which is really hard to get. A lot of them don't even want to let you read the warranty till after you do the project. But the warranty will say that air conditioners are not covered. So because of that reason, because of the gasket, well, the way we do these, there's no way it can leak. It's done because it's elevated up off the roof line. There is a counter flash on that curb, just the curb itself, like I showed you on these. And then this one out front, right here, this one, when the water comes down, it pushes it below the counter flash that's on the curb. So the gasket is all protected. So that's really important for the longevity of a roof. And a lot of people say, well, the product's thicker, and I'm just giving you some stuff to think about. If you all like doing a spray, and you go right ahead. But again, some of these issues that come up may be problematic down the road, meaning like the air conditioner and the other leaks. But the reason why they have to spray them so thick is because they're not a reinforced membrane. So this is a reinforced membrane. You don't have to keep going over this like you would with, like I said, a spray or roll on. So you can see in here, you can see those squares right there. That's a mesh built into this. Has it too. This just got a little hotter, which is more pronounced now. But you can see kind of the nylon that's in there, that mesh, that weave. That's what gives it its strength against to resist against hail and tree branches and things like that. So let's see, and again, keep these things in mind. So what we also did, we did have a solar over there, and we mounted the solar up on these boots, on these bolts right here. So again, if somebody has to take them off, then they can do that, and they can replace it or put a different panel on or whatever. But those there's steel. I think I showed you we put steel in there. What these are markers. I don't know if you can see that little piece right there. We got one over there, and here. That's where we put the steel in case somebody wants to put another solar on here. Then we know where we're going to be putting those bolts. So you just don't want to screw them into this roof, because this roof is just, even though we cladded over it with another piece of 1/8 inch, it's only 1/4 inch thick total, because the original roof was 1/8. But if you didn't clad over it, that's really not a lot for a screw to hold to prevent a panel from not being blown off. Not in my opinion. That's why we don't do it. I want something strong and solid. But as the wind is coming up underneath and it's coming over the vehicle, it's actually pulling up. A lot of people don't realize it's kind of, sucking it upwards. And that can really loosen up a lot of stuff. We find that happening. And there are a lot of leaks from it. Or hopefully the panel don't come off. But I wouldn't want that kind of liability. And that's why we do them the way we do. So I think that's about it. You know, if you have any questions, just reach out to us. We appreciate you all watching. And again, you know, I give all this information for folks to assess themselves, and you can decide what system you like best, or whatever you may work in your budget. But there's a lot of work to do in these. Even this little camper here probably took me as long to do as it did a full-size camper. So that's because of all the detail in it and making all these custom curbs, because this is one curb. This whole piece right here, that's one curb. That one right there, that whole piece, that's one curb, and I got to hand make all this. So, and I hand make all these. Every one of them I fabricate myself. So it takes a little bit, especially these funky ones right here that have the offsets on them. And then obviously we did the same one for the escape hatch. So, all right, well, we appreciate y'all watching. And you know, if you like the video, I think they say hit it. It does something for an algorithm in case someone else is looking for it. You know, share the video, all that stuff. I think y'all know all that. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next
care package. Right. So in our care package, we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch, peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, and we'll simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through, and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do? And it's raining out. Right now it's raining. You're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you try and do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. You just squeeze, squeeze. You want to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Put some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. Hey, what are you doing? What are you going to talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fingers, fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggum thing off of there. Probably need some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. There it is. Now you got the film. You take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a butyl. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That's simple. If it doesn't all sit in there, you can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of. There's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here. This part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.